Hi, I'm Heidi. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to take a few minutes to prepare you for your JA in a day. At this point, you should already know what teacher you're going to be volunteering for. You should know where the school is. You should also have some information about where to park and any other specifics that you need to know about that particular school. So when you arrive at the school, we want you to enter the school and go into the office and check in with the office staff. There will be a volunteer check-in there. There will also be a junior achievement representative who will help you either give you a map of the school or find your way to the classroom. And then you can get into the classroom and set all your supplies out and be ready to go when the teacher is ready for you. Before this time, though, you should also have received some information about maybe the daily schedule of the class that you're going to be in. So if there's any recesses or the lunch schedule, that just helps you to plan your lessons so that you have, you know where to do the breaks before their recess or before their lunch. Your coordinator should provide you with a name and the email address of the teacher whose classroom you will be going into. And so it's a good thing to reach out to this teacher and ask for a class list. With this class list, you'll be able to see the students' names and prepare the table tents for them so that you can identify the students when you're in the classroom and call them by name. Also, it's not required, but you can bring either business swag or some sort of a treat for the students. And so when you reach out to the teacher, you can find out if there's any food allergies or the number of students in the class so that you have enough supplies for them. Okay, well, let's go through the kit then. We have here just a few of the supplies from a first grade, this is a fourth grade lesson manual. So when you open up your kit, there will be two of these lesson manuals in it. And oftentimes on a JA in a day, the volunteers end up having a partner. So 2 lesson manuals is a good idea. If you are the only volunteer, then go ahead and offer this lesson manual to the teacher. Sometimes they take it, sometimes they don't. But first of all, around page 6 or 7 or 8 in the lesson manual, there's a master list of materials. And the first thing that we want you to do is just double check to make sure that you have all the items in here that in your kit that you should have. And the best way to do this is to look at the bottom, take one of these bundles, and there will be an identifier number. And this one says E436, and then it explains what it is, problem solver bookmark. And so you go down here, find it, and then check that off and make sure that, and then you know that's in your kit. At the same time, there's also a session number on here, and we really encourage the JA in a day volunteers to separate their lesson materials into the actual lesson numbers. So as I'm going through my kit, I'm going to make a pile for lesson number 1, lesson number 2, lesson number 3, 4, and 5. And that just helps you on that day to have all of the supplies that you want for that lesson so that you can transition easily into your next lesson and you don't have to shuffle through your kit to find all the correct supplies. So that would be our main tip for you, is to bundle them in lesson groups, either with an elastic, or some volunteers like to put them in Ziploc bags, and that way they're just easy to pull out and take for their lesson, that particular lesson. So once you've gone through and you know that you have all of your lesson materials and you have all of your piles, then you're going to just open it up to lesson number 1, session 1. And the model for this is a workshop model, and there's an introduction, and there's an activity, and there's a summary in every single lesson. So the instructions for your lesson plans are actually quite easy to follow. They always give you an overview. There's an objective that tells you what your supposed to be achieving with these students. And then there's even preparation tips and a recommended time for this lesson. So I really suggest that you follow these recommended, the preparation tips, and it helps you to present your lesson more smoothly. So you get to the presentation part of the lesson, and this manual is here for you to use as much as you need. You can highlight in it, you can write notes in it, you can dog ear, whatever. We ask the volunteers to be really flexible with their presentations, and so if there is something that you feel from your own personal experience would fit into this lesson plan, then go ahead and add that. And if that means you have to take out other points that to stay in the time frame, then you can do that as well. So the thing that I really like about our junior achievement lessons is it reads like a script, and there's all the information that you need as a volunteer is in this booklet. And so it tells you exactly what you need to say and what you need to do with these students. It's pretty easy to follow, but you also have to remember that the lessons are written out for a multi-day format. So you would do, the standard presentation is to come for 5 separate visits. And in a JA in a day, you're going to put all those lessons into one day. And so we encourage the volunteers to go ahead and condense the lessons as best they can. And if that might mean that you will need to shorten an activity, or rather than doing a group activity where you have to separate them into separate groups, just go ahead and do the activity as an entire class. That always saves you some time. And also, if you need to shorten the presentation a little bit or shorten the summary or the review so that you can stay in your time frame, then that is something that we suggest and recommend as well. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about classroom management. A lot of the volunteers have expressed concerns about being able to handle that many students for that long of an amount of time. And we just want to reassure you that the teachers are supposed to be in the classroom. They are required by law to be in the classroom with you. And they should actually also be participating in the classroom management and helping to control the students and keep the students on task. So here are some tips for you, though, as a volunteer. If you can learn the teacher's code word or attention getter word, that would be really helpful. The one that I use often is 1, 2, 3, eyes on me, and then the students all reply 1, 2, eyes on you, and then you have their attention. That's my go-to, but if you know and if you think to ask the teacher what their attention getter is, then that would be helpful for you as well. When you are working in groups, the teacher often will have groups already set up, like for reading or math, and so ask the teacher to help you put those students into groups for the group work. And then also, when you ask questions, ask open-ended questions, like don't ask just the yes-no questions. If you're having a hard time getting responses from the students, though, you can also have them turn to their neighbor. It's called paired sharing. And if you have them just turn to their neighbor and tell them their response, then the neighbor can reply the same way. And that just helps the volunteer understand or know that the students are understanding the concepts that are being taught. There's always a lot of good things to be said about positive reinforcement and focusing on the good behavior, such as the students sitting quietly with their hand raised. Be specific about this behavior that you want replicated. And just be flexible. Every classroom is different, and it's important to just, be happy and have a fun time and be aware that things are going to sometimes not go as well as you would like them to go. So let's talk about a few helpful hints for the volunteers. It's always a good idea to bring a water bottle. you're going to be doing a lot of talking and your mouth gets really dry, and water bottles are a lifesaver. Also, you're going to be doing a lot of standing that day, so wear comfortable shoes. And the dress attire is actually business casual. We've been in classrooms and schools where it's really warm in the classroom, and then I've been in classrooms where it's just freezing cold. And so if you have layers, it helps you to be more comfortable during the day. There is a certificate of achievement in the kit, and if you want to bring those and hand them to the teacher at the beginning of your class, the teacher can then fill them out with each student's name and sign it. And you can hand that out at the end of the day. But most importantly, just be yourself and have fun. We hope you enjoy your time with the students, and we know that they enjoy it, and so we hope you do too. Thanks for being a volunteer for Junior Achievements JA in a Day.